People still believe and trust the people on TV. They blindly trust their doctors, big pharma. I know, I talk about it every day, but it is so insane that it still goes on. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, why do people want to just delegate their critical thought to someone else? There's a lot of reasons for this, but let's just fundamentally think about it. Thinking expends calories. They say the path of least resistance is built into our biology because if we were to do things in the wild that weren't very efficient, if we were to thought too much about certain things and just wander around the woods daydreaming about complex what ifs, we probably would have gotten eaten. We'd have also been expending calories that were scarce. Calories were scarce in the wild. If you think about this, our biology is designed to conserve calories unless there's a really specific reward at play. Our ancestors didn't have to think about complex things and sit around all day. Respond to the environment. We were immediately in the now. That's why things like meditation, mindfulness are good for us. We had to be hyper aware, and then we socialize and talk to people around us, etc. You were disincentivized to think outside your group because that would have been a threat to the group. This is all very basic evolutionary biology, evolutionary psychology stuff. Today, people don't think because their body doesn't want to think. Their brain doesn't want to think. It wants to conserve calories. So they want to just be told a very simple 2 sentences, how to think about this thing, and then that forms their belief system. And the more they reinforce that belief system with the same, usually from the same pundit or person on TV, that's how you get really crazy ideas like you have in 2020 and our completely divisive political landscape. It's why people don't change their mind, even when presented with facts. It's why people trust doctors and big pharma and people they see on TV, literally hired actors. That's why people trust celebrities that always have an agenda and a publicist telling them what to say. An article by the New York Times entitled How the Sugar Industry Shifted Blame to Fat, O'Connor 2016, details the seriousness of this and the repercussions that occurred as a result. Dr. Stanton Glantz, a professor of medicine at USCF, and one of the paper's authors, was quoted in the article as saying, they were able to derail the discussion about sugar for decades. After the review was published, the debate about sugar and heart disease died down, while low-fat diets gained the endorsement of many health authorities. This is an excerpt from a book I'm reading, Don't Eat for Winter. Great book, highly recommend you read that. I'm doing videos on that, and I'll be taking out quotes and bits and pieces and talking about it. Is this a conspiracy or not? Like, that's kind of what we have to think about here. Like, the sugar industry, and it could have been like a couple dudes, or a small little organization funded by the sugar industry. Who knows what it could have been and who it could have been. They were funding studies and maybe defunding certain studies, which happens all the time. They actually give funding to a study. They want to basically show that sugar isn't bad for you. And then if that study starts showing that sugar is bad for you, they will remove funding and kill that study. And then that study doesn't get published. It doesn't get used as a data point. Imagine that. Imagine if you had 100 defunded studies because they were going in the wrong direction for the person that funded the study, and those never get talked about, and you get a couple that you publish, a couple studies that might show a certain correlation or connection. That's trustworthy? Like, what? Are you kidding me? Insanity. This stuff goes on to this day. It's been going on for years. The Energy Balance Foundation, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, is funded by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's been doing this shit for years, all right? Coca-Cola wants to perpetuate the idea that it's all about activity level and calories, and it doesn't matter what those calories are. So you can enjoy your Coke every single day as long as you live an active lifestyle and you control your calories. That's the narration that is perpetuated government. It's perpetuated the food pyramid. Like, it's literally insanity. And people to this day still follow the advice that is rooted in this really bad, nefarious, you could even say conspiracy, accidental conspiracy, or just a few people doing some really crazy bad things, using a lot of money they have, billions of dollars maybe, to make things happen and make things go away. And people still trust the people they see on TV. People, as I record this in 2020, you might even have like half of America is still afraid to go outside or go to the gym, go to the grocery store because of some boogie virus. This should show you how susceptible the human mind is to fear, to propaganda, to mass manipulation. And if you look at what the mainstream media is doing, and their basically left-leaning bias and all the things going on in politics right now, you have something called journalism that's supposed to be an objective look and a seeking of truth that is nothing but political activism. Now, whether you're on the left or the right side, you should be appalled by the censoring that big tech is doing, that mainstream media does all the time, the cherry picking of data, the suppressing of information that matters to you, to your children, and to the future of this country. This is all connected. When you have humans and you have power and you have control and you have incentive and agenda, you get consolidation and centralization. This is why Bitcoin I know it's a little bit off topic here, but this is why Bitcoin is one of the greatest inventions of mankind. Because if we can take that decentralized model, at least for money, it's working and it's going to work and it's probably the future of money in some way. If we can take that decentralized model and some of those kind of contracts and the different incentives and how they structured it so that you can't actually control it, and if you tech the system, it gets stronger. If you can build a system like that for government, from what I'm seeing, is the only way to save the future of humanity. I've been thinking about this a lot. Is the carnivore diet, is real food nutrition, is any of this ever going to hit mainstream? As much as I'm an optimist, I cannot say yes. And I have to emphatically say that no, it's never going to happen. There's just too much in the way. The same thing with government. Is government, the way it is now, ever going to get to a place where it's like better, more balanced, whatever? No. Power and centralization leads to more power and centralization. In fact, I watched a video yesterday talking about how we're going to have to create a new internet because governments around the world have become so ingrained and so controlling of the current internet that we're going to have to create like something like meshnet thing, or maybe it's going to be Elon Musk's Neuralink and we'll have a completely like internet on top of the internet, like a completely different thing where governments cannot go in, because the founder of the internet, I forget his name, but he is appalled and actually heading this movement to like more of a decentralized internet. He's appalled by what the internet has become, because the internet has become a proxy for everyday life. Big corporations, private interests, censorship, et cetera, flow of information for certain agendas is now what the internet has become. Even this video might get a disclaimer or could get a content strike or whatever because of certain keywords I've thrown in there. Don't trust anybody. You take in data, you run it through your own critical thinking, which requires calories. And guess what? We got plenty of calories in our environment, so you can think, you should think. If you delegate your thinking to someone else, you're taking the greatest risk that a modern human can take. Because you might end up voting a certain way, investing your money a certain way, spending your money a certain way, thinking a certain way, taking a certain job, taking a certain partner, making certain decisions, having certain fears, and whatever. Modern society is quite literally a indoctrination program to become
a tax slave, a debt slave, and basically a consumer that props up all the big corporations.
And unfortunately, we don't really have capitalism, and we don't really have a decentralized government checks and balances. We have big government, we have big centralization, and we have crony capitalism and crony politics, where they're all connected in an embed, and there's always incentives flowing around. And the only way it's going to change is probably if it implodes and something else comes, or if there's like a better alternative, like if we can get to a decentralized government or some kind of decentralized democracy or republic or something, like something that's truly decentralized. Maybe AI could do this, or maybe there could be a certain contract that's built into software. I think that's very possible. But until we get to that point, it's up to you, the individual, to not give this crap the time of day, to ignore this type of nonsense and be aware and critically think, and not get pulled into the smoke screen that is mainstream media, politics, and all of it, really, all of it. You have to take the red pill, they say. You have to wake up to what's going on. I don't know what to call this video. Maybe take the red pill to everything, and nutrition is just one example. 50+% obesity rate in this country. 1 in 3 children, okay? 33% of children are obese now. And that number is probably even higher because when they do this data, it's always a few years behind. Like, you don't need somebody in a lab coat to tell you that the current status quo is broken. Big pharma, healthcare, and it all is connected to politics, and the government's in debt, printing dollars. Your savings is going to be worth nothing. The dollar's going to eventually collapse. The stock market, real estate are very probably soon going to collapse the next year or two. The Fed just keeps printing up money. Like, when you go into any topic that dictates modern life and you go an inch deep, you see how ridiculous it is. And I encourage you to do that. I'll help you do that to the best of my ability. Go to Colin.coach, get on the Amplified newsletter. I'll send out videos and podcasts every week, plus some of my thoughts for the week. I hope you do, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey there, carnivores. Colin here, or would-be carnivores, or even omnivores. We put together a box of Wild Foods, the Carnivore box of some of our top products that fit the carnivore lifestyle, but they also happen to fit the healthy, optimal, eating at home, eating real food lifestyle. And so we put this together, nice little box, everything you need for seasoning, for salt, some keto collagen in here. We also have a wild caught fish oil. That is something that I take on a daily basis, as well as my son and the whole family. And we have wild coal. You're interrupting my ad?
Go get in Daddy's video.
Arr. Okay, so let's see. Boo Boo, can you tell me what's in here? We got this. This is our fish roll, right? You remember you've had this with a spoon. You usually have the liquid. What is that? Can you tell me what's inside there? What is it? It's fish oil.
Open that.
You want to open that? And then also the wild coal. You haven't really taken that yet, but remember you got it all everywhere. You got coal everywhere.
Okay, charcoal. Charcoal.
Charcoal. And then we got salt. You love salt. You know, when you put the salt in the steak, you help me season. We got our kosher flake salt that is perfect for steak. And he likes to help me season with the steak. Maybe I'll get some B-roll of that.
You like that.
Yeah, you like that. And then we actually have some wild black truffle salt, which is it's a natural sea salt with a little bit of natural black truffle flavor. And if you really want to mix it up, some people love this. Well, I don't want to open it yet because I got to use it for my ads, boo-boo. I got to use it. I got to keep it closed. But we'll check in the kitchen. And then we also have some keto collagen that you can use on obviously coffee, tea, smoothies, shakes, whatever. It's got our grass-fed collagen with a little bit of MCT oil powder. This whole box you can find on the website. You can find the link below. And we bundle it together so you save per unit than if you were to buy it individually. And you can actually use code WILDCEO for 12% off your entire order. This helps support the show. Why don't you hang out with Socrates for a second? Who's that? That's Socrates. He said to know thyself. And he was wise because he knew that he knew nothing. So swipe up, use code WILDCEO for 12% off your entire order, whether you get this box or any of our other superfood wild foods. It helps support the show, high quality real food nutrition, everything you need to sustain a natural omnivore or carnivore diet. Swipe up now, and thanks for the support. You're gonna be famous, boo. We're gonna be on my YouTube.